Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I'm going to show you how to set a bail on a Tsunami Evict. It's the 5000 model, and well, this one was dropped in a sandy from what I understand from Charles, who sent me a wonderful note typed on a 1947 typewriter, which I didn't quite think anybody did anymore, but I guess that's kind of cool in and of itself. It says, I got this here, I just can't get this back in place. How in the world do you do it? And well, we'll show you how in the world we do it. It's not that hard to do. And Charles wants to use this reel for the fall striker run, so he's hopeful that I can get it back out there. And I think, well, we should be able to do this. It's a fairly common setup on fishing reel bails. There's usually two of them. There's either this coil type of a structure with a Z-bar that goes into the bottom as the trip lever, or there's one that has a more pronounced coil spring here. It would kind of loop around and come back up to trip that. Well, what you have is you have a long coil spring. We have an arm on the bottom here, and if these ever have a weak point, it's usually that this bottom snaps off. And then on the inside here, we have I call it a Z-bar. Let's see if I can get that out. I'm not sure if I can or not. I guess I'm pushing it into the case and I don't have the rotor off. All right, well, at any rate, we have one that goes kind of like in the letter Z. So I just thought I would share that with you before I cover this one part up here. And actually, I guess we can probably do this without covering that up. There's a hole here, and you'll find this on most bail arms. You're going to have a hole right here. That hole corresponds to the stud on the spring case. You're going to have a slide right here. That's where this trip lever is going to run. Eventually it'll bump up against this back wall here. And you have a guide mechanism right here. That guide mechanism is going to run in this track over here. So you have the stud on the coil spring, the tag end of that metal Z-bar on this side, and a guide post on the other side. What you need to do is you need to take the arm, get that into the hole right there, compress the spring, and then push everything down. And usually I like to do this with the rotor off. I'm just thinking I'm going to get lucky here and be able to do it without having to take the rotor off and remove it. Well, before I do this, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. That notification button will let you know when I'm posting videos, and well, you can see if that's one you like. Okay, here we go. Just push down, and then we want to lock this over the top. And that should have set it just like that. We just push down and in. Right now, Charles, I'm sure, is sitting there wondering, really? Yeah, George, really? All right. Special shout out to Charles and all of his fellow workers. He's an EMT in the New York City area, and his efforts and all that he does is really appreciated. Okay, when you go to cast your bail now, it's going to compress this spring. It's going to push the bar down into trip mode. It works just like that. When the inside of the rotor hits, it's going to push that rod back up. It's going to trip this back. I'm going to put the cap cover back on. And well, I know I get a lot of questions on this, so if you have a question about this type, maybe you're working on a reel and you did what he did and you took it off and you got slammed or stuck or something, then and now you're looking for a way to correct that, just let me know. I'll be happy to try and answer that for you. All right, how does this bail work then? He's kept all of the pieces and parts together. That's always good. We have a screw here. We have two bearings, one on each side of the line roller. Before you reinstall, you can put oil on there, keep them nice and fresh. make sure if you're holding onto that bearing as you do the next part. There's a little tag end over here, so you need to come into the bail arm kind of opposite the direction of where the bail is going to lay. Then you do a full rotation and that will set itself in. So now you're locked in there because of that oblong design. We bring this over to this side. And this is the Tsunami Evict. It's a nice reel. I'm not a fan of a lot of the Tsunamis, but this one's a nice reel. It's got some good design properties, and it is pretty well sealed for surf, which is where Charles is using it. All right, let's put this back on, and we'll give it a test. We'll see how we did. Let's get the handle on first. There we go. I think we're on with the handle. Let's make sure that the reel runs fine. The reel runs fine. Now let's make sure that the bail works. I'm going to flip it over. And then it'll, oh, didn't hit the piece. Okay. So I'm looking here and I'm not tight enough on the bail arm. I didn't tighten the screw in enough. That'll have an effect on it. All right. Now we got it going. There you go. So, simple enough. So if you have a bail system, as we just showed you, a bail system that uses the Z-bar and the coil spring, you need to, again, just for a reference point, leave the spring completely untensioned, get the tip of that metal carrier piece into the bail arm, align it pretty much as it's going to go in, and as we showed you, push down on that to compress the spring, and then tighten this down. Of course, I didn't tighten it down enough, so first attempts at a repaired bail, well, that didn't work too well, did it? So there you go. Overall, a nice fishing reel. This one's ready to go fishing again. I hope you've enjoyed that. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day, fun times on the water, and, well, when you get into trouble, a solution to your issues. I want to thank Charles and all of his EMTs, as well as everybody dedicated to public service, for keeping us safe and out of harm's way. And I want to thank you, the viewers, for making the channel what it is, and want to encourage you to subscribe and to continue watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.